It can be terrifying. It keeps people up at night, causes shortness of breath, sweaty palms, and prevents people from dislodging themselves from their cushiony comfort zone. We're talking about the fear that unravels even the coolest of minds. It's called the job interview. And today we're here to tell you what not to do and a great follow-up tip as well. Let's do this. Have no fear, ladies and gentlemen. That dramatic intro hopefully didn't bring any chilling memories back to your mind, but let's face it, people don't like job interviews. I mean, that's very typical of people. And we've all been in that spot where you're trying to go over all the questions in your head, telling yourself not to stumble over your words or say something you might regret. But the fact of the matter is, we can nail that job interview when it arrives. And that's what we're going to be talking about today here on the ROI Podcast. Of course, I'm your host, Shane Simmons, and today we're going to be telling you why people fear job interviews so much, and also how you can prepare yourself to overcome that crippling fear. Now, this is going to be a fun episode, and who knows, maybe you're listening to this right now and you know you'll be interviewing for a job here soon, so pay close attention.
Well, in some respects, you're putting people on the spot. You're making them tell things about themselves. Some people aren't really comfortable talking about themselves, and you're asking questions of them that require some thought and introspection that maybe they're not really prepared for.
You just heard from Josh Killey, Director of Career Services at the Kelley School of Business on the IUPUI campus here in downtown Indianapolis. Josh has helped hundreds of people ease their fear of interviews, and he says it really breaks down to this.
I think the biggest issue we see with interviewees is the lack of preparation. So not completely understanding themselves, not really understanding the company, the position in which they're applying. So there's definitely some things that can help an interviewee if they've done the preparation and they've thought through the process.
Tip number 1, preparation. Preparation is huge with anything we do. And Josh says you've got to know where you are, what your strengths are, and how you can really impact the organization. And if you don't know enough about the organization, because you didn't do your research, you're not able to really put yourself into position and stand out from all the other candidates. Now, here's an interesting thought. You have two types of applicants who Josh helps. You have students who have little work experience, fresh out of school, and you got working professionals who've been out in the workforce, but maybe they're looking for something different, whether that be a new company or a position. Josh says the two have some similarities, but as you would know, are both obviously different.
I think as far as similarities, there's going to be a number of them. They're still going to have to really understand their own interests, their own skill sets to be able to convey that to a company. So that's going to be similar. The experienced professional is going to have considerably more background and skills and ability to demonstrate what they've done than an entry-level candidate would. So there is going to be some differences there. That's why we focus a lot when we talk to students about getting internships, getting that related experience so that you have direct examples of what it is that you're trying to convey to an employer, and you can show that you've done certain things. So it definitely helps when you've got that level of experience.
Tip number 2, know yourself. Know the skills you have and own them. Whether you're new to the job market or a seasoned veteran, you have to know your skill set and convey that to the organization. Sell yourself. And part of that is building out your resume in a way that shows tangible results. Josh explains.
Yeah, a lot of times what you'll see with experienced resumes even is they've got now key results or key accomplishments that are embedded in them. And that's a way of saying, okay, I've done these things at the particular position, but here are the 3 to 5 things that really impacted the organization. So being able to speak to those effectively, convey that to the company, sell your abilities is going to be critical.
So here's an example. I helped generate the company an additional $200,000 in revenue through service sales in Q1 of 2017. Or I helped implement lean strategy that saved the organization $2 million in wasted manpower. Those are powerful. They stick. And that's what leaves an impact. Next tip, research, research, research. Here are some ways to research the organization you've applied for.
As far as strategies, I think the most important thing is researching the company and the position beforehand. As much information as you can get. The job description itself will give you some of it, but utilizing resources like the company website, of course, but Glassdoor.com is an excellent resource because people go on there and they put things the company may not necessarily want you to know, the good, the bad, and the ugly, if you will, about that organization, about their culture, about even their interview process. So there's a lot of information can be gleaned from Glassdoor.com. And then, of course, there's a variety of different resources like LinkedIn and other things that you can do to go through to really prepare and understand the organization and as much as you can the position. And so I think being able to utilize those resources to really help prepare yourself is key.
And the final piece of insight we have here, follow up after the interview. So many people forget this step, and it's very important. Josh says handwritten letters can be very powerful because, let's face it, most people do everything digitally now. So if you can get a handwritten letter to the right person, this can be very powerful in your follow-up. Just thank them for their time, and if there's anything you wish you would have mentioned during the interview, which, let's face it, we always forget to say something we wanted to, that's a great time to put that in the letter. All right, everybody, that's a wrap on this episode of the ROI Podcast, Interview Tips Edition. We want to thank Josh Killey of the Kelley School of Business, Indianapolis Career Services Office for sharing his insight with us and really providing a lot of value that should give you a lot of confidence if you have a job interview coming up here in the next few weeks or the next few months. Go back, replay this episode, and remember some of these things because it's really what it boils down to at the end of the day is being prepared, being able to sell yourself and show that you can provide value to that company or organization that's going to obviously have you stand out at the end of the day. And if you're a Kelley student or a Kelley graduate, you can also contact Kelley Indy Career Services at KICS, that's KICS, at iupui.edu. Again, that's KICS, KICS, at iupui.edu. And they can be a really great resource for you as you hit the marketplace. So everybody, go out there, put these strategies to use, and don't forget to leave a review on the Apple Store for the ROI Podcast. Let us know how we're doing. And other than that, we'll talk to you here next week on another edition of the ROI Podcast. See you later, everybody.